Hello? Yes, this is she. I'm great, thank you. How are you? Yes, this is. Okay, sounds great. Yes, ma'am. No. No. Yes. No. Yes, I do. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Well, some challenges that I could foresee would be personality clashing. Um, because with living up to seven people, you really could all have very different personalities, and some are harder to handle than others. And a lot of us would probably have differences with how clean we are and like organizational stuff. So that's one thing that I could definitely see probably being a challenge. But how I would handle it was if, because I'm kind of messy myself, so if somebody had a problem with me being messy, I would just ask that they come and talk to me and, just have like a civil conversation and say, hey, this is kind of bothering me. Um, and then we could just talk it out civilly and be respectful of each other's feelings and um, just kind of have a grown up heart to heart and try to understand each other's feelings and understand where they're coming from, um, and make them know that their feelings are valid and that um, I respect them coming to me. And if I had a problem with them, I would respectfully go to them and be like, hey, um, I was wondering if you had a second to talk, and just really make them understand that in no way, shape, or form am I trying to be disrespectful to them in any way. This is a problem that I'm kind of having, and before it gets worse, I'd like to try to squash it right now and just deal with it in a mature manner. Hmm. Hmm. I believe that being a part of the Disney College program would help me in my career goals because I want to start a career in Disney. I've been interested in that since I was a little girl. Um, and so I believe that Disney has set out these stepping stones, such as the college program and the internship, for people like myself to create a good foundation. Um, and so, if I were given the opportunity to work through the college program, I would get a lot of good background knowledge of the company itself, and I would be able to take classes to understand the company more. And I think that would be a really good tool to have underneath my belt when I do try to go and make my career in Disney. Mhm. 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 Hmm. Okay. I would be open to doing any of those roles. I'm actually a lifeguard right now. Disney, for some reason, I wasn't able to put that on my application, so I just want to make sure you know that. So I would honestly be open to any of those roles. I just didn't know if there was like a limit. Well, on my application, I put a lot of volunteer work. So I will touch on that a little bit. I've volunteered a lot. I love to feed the homeless. I've gone on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic, and I built a school, and that was really awesome. Um, and I think from those things that I've done, I've really grown to have a heart for people, um, and interacting with people. I love interacting with people and learning their stories and just getting to know people on a personal basis. And I've learned hard work and determination through my mission trip at Dominican Republic. It was in the summer, it was hot, I was exhausted, I was tired, but I was doing something that was for people other than myself. It was for a bigger cause. And so through that, I really just learned hard work and determination, and knowing that things aren't always for me, they're to bless other people. And I think that's something that I could really bring to Disney as an asset when interacting with guests. And then through lifeguarding, I've learned a lot of patience because I'm also a swim instructor. So I teach kids from the age of 3 to, I taught a 64-year-old man once how to swim. So I've learned the virtue of patience. And even if, I'm having a bad day or I'm sick or something, smiling through it, because ultimately I'm there for that person, to help them, and in any way possible. Um, and even when I'm having a really bad day, or I'm really frustrated, or I'm hot and I'm not feeling well, just to put a smile on my face and remember that I'm doing things for other people and that it's not about me, it's about them. Um, and through lifeguarding, I have learned, like, I've learned a lot. um, I've, I've had to deal with a lot of hard customers, and so I've learned how to understand their point of view, and how to communicate with them in a respectful manner and try to help them understand. Do you mind if I give you an example real fast? Okay, I'm sorry. For one example, there was a grandparent of one of the children that were swimming at the Y, because I work at the YMCA, and it was against policy for the child to just be dropped off there. And I had to call the grandmother and explain this to her and tell her that her grandson couldn't get into the water until she was on deck. And she was very mad at me, and she had a few choice words for me. But I waited with her grandson until she came, and I was like, I'm really sorry for this inconvenience. I know it's probably frustrating for you. However, it's in the best interest of your grandson to make sure that you are here in case anything happens. It's a safety issue. And so I kept my cool, even though she was really kind of not very nice. But I just smiled and said, I understand your point of view, and I'm so sorry that this is happening. However, I'm just looking out for the best interest for your grandson. Um, and so I've learned the art of communication, um, which is really important. Yes. I have not, thankfully, not yet. Hmm. Oh yes, we have in services twice a month, so every 2 weeks. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I'm probably one of the strictest guards at the Y. Just because obviously the rules are there for a reason, and I want to make sure everybody's safe, because the biggest thing they teach us in lifeguarding is like acting before things happen, making sure to be productive and make sure that you don't have to you can I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the word. I can't remember the word, but it's just basically making sure stopping things before they happen, stopping things before they could occur. So if a kid is running, I'm always the first to blow my whistle and say, "Hey, please cut that out." I always add the word "please" because I want to be nice, but I am stern in it. But I'm very good at enforcing rules. My mother's Puerto Rican, so I've learned. Yes, exactly. Hmm. Yes, March 10th. I plan on going, if not anything, to just get experience within it. But yeah, I'm a theater major, so I'm very interested in trying to do something like that. Hmm. Well, right now I'm working on an indoor pool, but this summer I worked at an outside pool and I loved it. I loved being outside. I was in Arizona, so it was 115 degrees. So I do pretty well in the heat. So yes, I will be used to it. One of the things I really liked about the attractions roles was I think it's I whenever I went to Disney World, I would always be so in awe of the people working them. I'm like, wow, you have to be so smart to work those rides, and I just thought it was really cool. But as I grew up, I kind of realized they were my age, and they probably didn't know as much as they thought they did. But I also loved the fact that they got to interact with guests a lot, and a lot of them have these big kind of speeches they give to us, and I think that's a really cool thing too because I would such as the Disney Jungle Cruise. That's one of my favorite rides to just go and listen to people because I do love theater. So I think the rides that have a lot of speeches and stuff would be really fun for me because I could act a little bit. But I also would like it because it is high in with traffic from people, and I would get to meet a lot of different people and talk to them while they wait in line. And I think that's a really cool skill to have, being able to just talk to anybody. Um, if it were a girl, I would kind of talk to her and just be like, "Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry that you're not tall enough to ride the ride, but you know, Snow White went through this one time too, and I had to tell her that she couldn't ride it. But you know what happened? She came back a little while later, like a year later or so, and she was able to ride the ride. So I know it stinks right now, but when you come back when you're a little bit older, you'll be able to do it, just like Snow White did." Something like that. Or if it was a boy, I would say like I don't know, Jack Captain Jack Sparrow or something. Just change according to gender. Yeah. The front desk role is very big in with people activity, and like I said, I love to talk to people. I love to hear their different stories. And I just like customer service stuff because I am very talkative, and I'm just good at getting along with people and trying to make them have the best possible stay they could. So if I was at front desk, I would make sure that I could do anything for them, and I would really be eager just to help out in any way that I can to make sure that their stay is special. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Yeah. Well, custodial, I would love because it is very interactive with people, and like I said, I love that. And you get more of like a free range to kind of go all over the park and clean. And I grew up doing chores, so it's nothing new really. um, so I would love the guest interaction, honestly. And like I said, I'm a theater major, so I understand that a lot of stuff happens backstage that a lot of people don't know about. And so I think custodials like that. Like people don't think about the person who's doing the lighting cues. And when people go to Disney World, they don't really think about the people that are cleaning up the toilets and sweeping up their trash, but it's still such a big part in making sure that everything runs smoothly. So I think that's really cool. Um, yeah, I think that's a cool little aspect. And then for housekeeping, I think that one would be a little harder for me because there is no guest interaction. Um, However, I would be open to it because I would still be able to go to the Disney College Program. I think that's awesome. And it, like I said, it's behind the scenes, and people probably wouldn't really be like, oh, thanks to the person that cleaned my room today, but I'm still being part of the magic in some sorts. The only experience I've had handling food and money was when I volunteer. I'm a Division II soccer player at my college right now, so when we volunteer at different, like the basketball games, we we give the customers food and take their money and then give them change. So that's about it. But I have dealt with it a little bit. Yes. Oh, um, that's a good question. Well, if they didn't speak the same language as me, I would, if it was Spanish, I'm sure there would be somebody around that spoke Spanish, so I could either, if there was somebody near me that I knew that spoke Spanish, I could try to grab them or something. Or if I had a pen and paper, maybe we could write and they don't speak English, they wouldn't know how to read it. I could see if they had their phone. One thing I have heard of people doing was having the guests get out their phone and maybe doing like a Google Translate and from like either Spanish to English or German to English and trying to communicate that way. Um, yeah, something like that I could think of. Hmm. Okay. A lifeguarding, just because I have experience with it. Um, and I really feel as though I could be a good asset to Bippity Boppity Boutique because I have a lot of experience backstage for theater doing hair and makeup. I've been at least 17 different productions where every single time I was backstage, I was helping me and at least six other people doing hair and makeup. And I'm always one of the first people that my college goes to when they need help with that. I've done my sister's hair and makeup for prom, and I'm the youngest child. Uh, and my sister was actually a Make a Wish child, and we took her Make a Wish trip to Disney World. And she's special needs, so I have a lot of experience with dealing with, not dealing with, but interacting with special needs children and families. So I would have a lot of experience with communicating with families and just trying to make their day special. And I have that background with how to handle them if maybe they're upset or something like that. And I could relate to them with something that's going on if they were to come in. And being a fairy godmother in training is acting, and I love acting, anything that has to do with it. So I think that would be a really cool role for me, and I think that I would be good at interacting with different families. Yes. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Um, I was, if I were to get accepted, would I be able to volunteer for Make a Wish on my days off? I've heard about that. Okay. Mhm. Yes. Okay, because that's definitely something I would want to do because of my family history with it. Yeah. And then do you know if through the Disney College program, if I wanted to extend, how would that work if I were to get accepted? Mhm. Mhm. Okay. 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 Perfect. All right. And then I just have one more question, just because I love hearing this. But I was wondering, could you tell me what one of your most rewarding moments at Disney has been? Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, I think that wraps up my questions. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Thank you for taking the time, especially on Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you so much. You too. All right. Have a good one. Bye. Well, that was pretty nice. Went good, I think. We'll see.